And as usual, I'm recording the TSTV. So we have, we're going to hear about a collaboration proposal in just a minute. I wanted to start with one other topic very briefly, which is just, and I'm doing this on behalf of Luca, who's not in the room, who is increasingly our interface to people pods. And he has noted correctly that we're pretty vague in our explanation of what access devices to buy. And this was with reason, because we were getting, it was difficult to go buy directly from vendors. The agent you need to run from Celestica was not open source. There wasn't actually a product number to put in here, but we probably need to do a better job helping people understand, even if we can't give them all the answers, how to navigate talking to different access device vendors. I don't think Ali is on the line. Are you, Ali?
He's out this week.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming we were going to hear.
Be on a chairlift somewhere.
On a chairlift somewhere.
And Larry, your last comment includes the wireless access for...
Well, wireless as well, but because we actually have 90% of a BOM online for the Cord, it's people are frustrated that they can't get the full thing. So Jono and I were talking a little bit about this morning, and this is just to make note of it. We need to figure out how to do a better job here, and we also need Ali to probably help with that. So we'll wait till he gets back. Okay, so noted. Are there any other agenda items before we move on to the collaboration proposal? Okay, so I'll let you guys introduce yourselves, and well, let's just start there.
Yeah, Steve Carrito, Adara Networks, head of sales, located in San Jose, California.
Hi, I'm Raghu Gangi. I work as a principal engineer, and I'm an architect for virtual and physical networking software at Adara.
I'm Vishwesh Deshmukh. I'm a principal engineer and I lead architecture and development for controller and cloud management platform at Adara.
Okay.
I'm CCH Chaudhary. I'm from Gadisys. I joined recently as software architect.
Lillian Withrow, I'm Alliances for Adara. I'm here mostly for the after meeting, but I thought I'd join this.
Okay, good. Thanks. Thanks. So we get to. Yeah, why don't we? You're right. Why don't we keep going? Thanks. Matteo, just introduce yourself.
Matteo Scandalo from Open Networking Lab. I'm working on the Cord UI.
Charles Chen, I'm working for ONAB, working on the switch fabric for Cord.
Tom Topic from AT&T.
Johan from ONAB for QA.
What do we get here?
Hi, I'm Suchitra Veguri. I'm the QA lead at ONWeb, and I have no leading for the architecture for the testing.
Larry Peterson, ON Lab, chair of the TST.
Bill Snow, VP of Engineering at ONLab.
Andy Bevere, I work at ON Lab, mainly on the Cord build process and also on XOS.
I'm Tetsuo Ito from NTT Japan.
I'm Chris Mas from Adara Networks, Director of Engineering.
I'm Jonathan Hatt from ONLab, developer on the same Cord.
I think we missed David.
I'm David Boswell, Director of Community.
So thanks for submitting your proposal. We wanted to hear more about it, and maybe we'll ask you some questions about it. And it's kind of a strange ask, but what you proposed was very broad and ambitious, and that's great. I think one of the things I'd like to hear is where you sort of see initial opportunities and just a little bit more about specifics that you think you would put effort into. So I'll just hand it over to you guys.
Okay. Yeah, these two. Mukesh, why don't you sit behind them so poor Larry is not playing Wimbledon. Grab a chair. And,
Oh, I can grab it.
But you can come here, if that helps, I can go there.
Okay, so however you want to approach it, so I can just jump in and just wanted to hear your thoughts on where you saw immediate traction in collaboration and contributions.
We can contribute on multiple projects, and we have sent out the proposals, which is in Cord, enterprise cords, and residential cords. And I'm not sure who has looked at that one. We can talk about that. So we also we comes with the experience with a very large deployment in Internet of Things, where in fact this mobile course, enterprise course, all these are relevant. Having said that, I think we can talk about like a more details about that specifically. So our Internet of Things actually goes into like a wearables and connected uh, uh, devices deployments, which basically is very relevant for your mobile scores. Also, our whole solutions is based on the performance. Means we our path computation systems is built on ground up from based on the performance itself, like which actually collects data about the networks and do monitoring and do make decisions based on the performance. So well-rounded path computation engines uh, having uh, 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 having information about both like virtual overlay networks as well as the physical networks. Uh, also,
So on the IoT angle specifically, I'm just going to turn to Tom for a second. Have you guys?
Yes, we are actually doing some kind of demo around gateway IoT for the connectionless services. So we are trying to emulate environment where there is no GTP tunnels required, and we can showcase tens of millions of basically sessions of IoT that can happen. This is happening with the MWC demo in detail and analysis collaboration.
So I was just trying to get a sense. You guys bring to the M-Cord environment actual IoT devices or workloads, or just trying to get my head around how.
What aspects of the IoT and so on?
Yeah.
Is it more of the actual, is the IoT devices itself, or is it a gateway, or?
It's both. It's like an actual device. Like we have the devices which are wearables, means like a medallion kind of a sensors. So it's like a uses those get sensed. Also like the mobile device itself, like a phones. Also like a like Wi-Fi gateway, as well as like a we do all these information goes into the data centers, so that get connected, and also it's because it's this solutions is expandable, so it's basically connect even private and public clouds also. So actually, it's like a from mobile device itself up to even gateway. So it's actually
So there's a cloud side app involved. Is that?
Cloud side, no, it's not a cloud side. So our solution starts actually from the mobile device itself. We have like a software which actually goes on the mobile device itself. It's based on Adara technology. ATP actually do the do accelerations. Also, like say, I can provide the services from there itself, setting up the connections automatically, like providing the QoS services from their mobile gateway, mobile device itself.
So if we go and look at what M-Cord is doing, M-Cord is creating these slices of networks.
Right.
And within one of these slices, for example, could be IoT traffic. And if you have IoT gateways that we can either bring into import and also, showcase that and rest of the import can manage this slice of the network as IoT and look at the impact on rest of the resources, spectrum, network resources.
Yeah, I think what they are talking is probably an app that you run on the device, on the sensor itself.
That's not, we're not talking the app. We say we start from there and we are having the gateway also. So like from here, we connect these devices and we collect the information at the gateway. And then we do basically so we have a gateway also, so it's not just like a app on the mobile device.
So is this an application in the gateway? Is this a mobile edge application? Is that what you're talking about? Or is it a cloud application? We're trying to figure out. So from the sensor, what do you collect and where does it get?
You guys have some guidance.
So what I just did is pulled up the proposal, which might help us to walk through it. I mean, all we're trying to do is get a sense of some more concrete touch points, basically. So, for example, support for industry-specific IoT scenarios. So, this is kind of an overview here, if I'm reading right, and then you kind of drill down later on. So, Cord specifics. So, networking vendor for industry's largest global IoT production deployment using location-based wearables. So, this would be. And then there's a piece of it in the public cloud and private clouds. I was just trying to connect the dots on what that means. In terms of a concrete, collaborative, I was just trying to make it more concrete. Collaboratively, you would bring an app and some devices and figure out how to fit it into Cord. Am I got the right model?
So we are a networking company. We are not like an app development company. But the solutions with which we are working, they have an app basically running on the mobiles, right? Mobile devices that's and also like a wearables like a medallions. So it's like your user get connected even from the public clouds, and those information goes into the backend. So where we are playing that building that network starting from that mobile device. So we have a software piece which goes on the mobile device. That is one thing. Then now we are back in that data centers like we have a gateway. We also virtual routers of this. So we basically can build the circuits whatever needed by providing as a service, and that data goes into on the gateway. So then we analyze then we provide that network connectivity.
So would that be something we could integrate into a demo?
Yeah.
And so that would involve this app on a device running through Cord back up to AWS.
So app is not ours. So I know like we can bring that app here. So that app is not ours, right, but it's like a networking components. Yes, like our ATP we can that parts we can actually demonstrate. So we can have like this.
Why don't we take an action item to work with them, a use case story around
a use case story would be good. That's what that's a good way of putting what we're looking for. Is we're looking for a use case story that we can build around. So I'm just continuing on. So there's a use case story potentially around IoT, real-time resource management. So this is resource management. There would be software you could bring to Cord to help manage virtual machines and containers.
We can manage both basically like we can provision the physical hardware itself onto us. We also can bring up manage like VMs also, or like Dockers instances. So in the real time based on the yeah. So
is this based on a real time
need of the applications? There basically or need of the deployment. So basically, it works based on like policies, rules, what you put basically. And if you let's say you need like a let's say there is a more server demand, so we can actually like start a new instance and provisions automatically. So we can manage that whole inventory of the resources, including instances, network, yeah, subnets. Means we want.
So are these extensions to Linux, or they?
No, we have our
user space.
Our like we have our path combination engines, and we have our like a fabric, which is a cloud management systems, and then we work like these controllers. So these applications are control agnostic and work with basically on our side.
Okay. Kind of all right. So the next example is monitoring and analytics. It's implementing monitoring. So do you know about the Cord structure? Is this something that would be another instance of Cord, or would it fit into Cord?
I don't know very details about the Cord, but I have once. I think Raghu, you want to say something more about the Cord, what you have read or something like. I don't know much about the Cord, but we have built like a analytics using like a Congress is ones like we have integrated with, so we can actually make certain business decisions.
So this is an analytics app that's using the monitoring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So we also integrate with Silometer. We also use OpenStack. So we use Silometer, and then as Mukesh mentioned, it's business policy engine that we use, Congress for policy driven.
Okay, so this would sit on top of a monitoring service, watching for certain scenarios and then react to it.
Right.
So is that app? This could be, and we're looking for analytics apps. I'm guessing this is not an open source app, but it could be something that we would demonstrate.
Oh yeah, yes, we can demonstrate.
Okay, that would be a really good one. Service composition, so you have workflows, service chain choreography, policy-based. Can you say a little bit more about that? What would that?
So we have in service chaining framework. So actually we can build like a the solutions whatever you need. We can chain the service. For example, it's like you need to apply securities, enable the security services, so we can enable that. So you can any other networking services, for example, it's like a net or any other services you want to, so we can chain those services. So this is service chaining programmable engines. It's part of our path combination engine.
Can you say how that would fit into Cord? Would it be a chaining subsystem?
Yeah.
So the services that you chain, can you describe them? Are they?
Okay, let's say, for example, it's like you deploy the solutions, you need the routing services, like, right? So first, like, we can deploy that routers. Then when it, then if you need like WAN acceleration services, like, right, if that link is going over the WAN, so we can enable like a WAN optimization service, like a deep and other multipathing on the WAN. So we can chain these services using that framework.
Okay. So then the next three are things that you've been doing in ONOS that could be applied to Cord, right? Reduce latency, increase throughput, differentiated
Our system
QoE.
is built actually on that concept itself, so from the ground up. So our proprietary technology based on the DLSP. So it's we do maintain the latency of each of the paths. So we reduce the latency we increase the throughput by utilizations of those multiple paths. So if there is an unused path not being used, which usually like in a traditional network doesn't get used, so we do use that path. So we increase the throughput by that way, and we reduce the latencies by finding a path which is having actually a lower latency.
Okay. Sort of skipping ahead a little bit here. So on the that was all under mCord. On the eCord side, provider and enterprise cord be concurrently provided.
I think the path computation element is something was needed for packet optical, managing both optical layer as well as packet data. I think you guys have developed. So maybe Mark can,
So Mark, if you could come on just for a second, have you looked at this in any detail, or you're still trying to sort?
So I was honestly a little surprised to see eCord pop up. It's been a while since we last talked to Adara, so yeah, I'd like to know more of what you're planning. Maybe we need to flesh it out a little bit more. Please enlighten me.
So is this the right interpretation that it is the end-to-end path computation across the packet optical backend for eCord? Is that the right focus?
Yeah, so path computation is across the layers, optical layers, as well as the packet layers. So we also demonstrated the same solutions last times with the Canadians. So we have built up this path computation can collect and get the information from the layers and then make a decision based on the path.
Okay. So,
but I mean, you talk about last events and things we've already demonstrated, but I guess we're talking about what's ahead for the future, right? I didn't quite get that part.
So Mark, what if we work with them offline on this path computation element to apply it to maybe front hauling or back haul mesh concept for the mobility aspects, which combines the WDM and maybe millimeter wave and all of that.
That's perfectly fine by me. All I'm wondering is when we accept proposals, how detailed or how fleshed out does this need to be, or is this kind of a letter of intent? Like, yeah, we'll do something and then we'll figure it out along the way.
Well, so what I was trying to do was to find a modest number 2 or 3 of the most promising drill downs that we could pursue. And so an IoT use case, an analytics app that runs on aCord, which has got telemetry as core, but it's beyond that. And this might be a third one, but we can kind of pull together a set of candidates and try to map them out a little bit more. I wanted to move on to our cord for just a second too then. So there's I'm reading this right, virtual set-top box with API support for over-the-top third-party premium content support. Sounds promising. I just wanted to hear a little bit more about.
We can integrate any third-party applications. We do have a service registrations mechanism built in. So then, if you have some content delivery services that itself it can request how much network it needs, so we can with the API itself. So basically this gateway set-top box itself it can resolve the bandwidth or needs whatever it's needed. So it can be programmed.
So this is giving the third-party over-the-top service the ability to make requests on the carrier network so that it delivers good Netflix.
Yeah, to an examples like the solutions we are deploying, there are thousands of microservices running in that, and like they request for the need of the network networks for like a synchronization. So they sync data across like multiple locations, like even public and private even data centers. So we do like coordinate the network states based on the network states, and we may make a decisions, and we provide that service to the applications requested by that.
So essentially what we are saying is a performance-based delivery of the content to the subscriber.
Yeah.
Right, so mapping that on the cord, it would be as though the subscriber at home, by virtue of having run this capability, because they want to get good Netflix, is dynamically asking the carrier for more bandwidth as opposed to just locking it at some particular bandwidth. And that could be a feature we could demonstrate. It's on-demand bandwidth bursting or whatever. That'd be a cool app to demonstrate.
Yeah, I was thinking, forget about Netflix, but let's just get the education industry to bring in the
Netflix is
And we already are testing out that one a lot.
So I think so there's a discussion of timetables and resources. So what I would, others can speak up with their opinions, but what I would like to ask you for is there's 3 or 4 of the most promising things that I heard. An IoT use case, an Cord use case, which is to say an analytics app that could take advantage of the monitoring service. Path computation, but work that one with Mark.
Apply it maybe to background.
Okay. Okay. And a on-demand bandwidth requests from the customer because they're using this capability, but that requires our cord to respond in real time to those kinds of requests, which is I'm not just signing up for 10 megabits, I'm signing up for variable and I have to ask for it. Those would be kind of just, I don't want to limit you to those, but it would be, anything else you wanted to contribute, that's great, but it would be good from the project side to understand in a little bit more detail. These seem to be the most promising things to do next. And not an engineering roadmap per se, but enough of a kind of a sketch as what that would involve from a resource on your part would be helpful too. But so it's human resource, it's licenses to software or open source or whatever the situation might be, and just kind of how it would fit into the scope of what Cord's able to do. Anyone else have questions or comments?
I think those four use cases are actually a good one to maybe explore further and come back with some use case scenarios behind it.
Right.
So for next steps, we'll iterate on the proposal and then approve it.
Yeah. Anything else you guys wanted to add to all this?
No, I think it's a good set to start. It's definitely a good set to start.
Good.
So you look to us for the use case right up as an iteration of the proposal.
Yeah. And you can, and each one of those slightly, there are people to talk to that might help.
Mm-hmm.
So talking to Tom on the Cord use case, and you can talk to me on the Cord use case, and Mark on the path computation thing. And then what was the last one?
IoT.
No, you're the IoT. Bandwidth on demand. Yeah, you talked to me about that because that's just the interface to get to increase your bandwidth.
So actually on the E-Cord also, so we have a end-to-end, we have a portal-based end-to-end connection, like what we call it as a cloud data center interconnect. So it's policy driven. So I think if we can contribute on that, and I think that should be good.
So did I hear cloud interconnect?
Yeah.
So this is a function that would sit in a co-location center somewhere. Am I interpreting interconnect right? Cloud interconnect?
Yeah, so what we try to do is private to private cloud interconnect, or AWS, let's say virtual private clouds on AWS connecting to the private cloud, like some OpenStack based cloud or anything. So we have policies which govern, which say like whether you have to do a connection which is performance based or not performance based, and then our path computation engine actually kicks in and then we connect them.
Okay, so it would be good to hear you spell that out, that one. That touches on something that people are starting to call X-Cord, which is interconnect cord.
Okay.
And that's kind of emerging a little bit, and you can kind of think of it as a variant of E-Cord that happens to sit not on my premises, but off in Equinix or wherever. And it's still enough fuzzy that we aren't quite sure how to go with it. If that starts to take shape, that would, or if you wanted to drive that a little bit, then that would be an opportunity as well.
Sure. Thank you.
Anything else? More broadly, any other topics we need to talk about?
So could we talk briefly about adding the Swarm infra module and moving console and registrator to it? I don't know if we have everyone on the call who wanted to discuss that or not.
I think we don't have everyone on the call that wanted to talk about that.
And Larry, another point of confusion is what should go onto the Cord 2.0 branch. Right, because I think there is some confusion as to should all fixes go there, or if we add all the fixes there, would it cause stability issues? Are E-Cord and M-Cord developing on that branch?
There should be no features. There should be no new features on 2.0. There should only be bug fixes. And we were accumulating a set of fixes so we could do them as a batch. Have those passed?
And we did submit that batch. There were 2 fixes from me and 1 from Srikanth in that. And that was 2 of those were for the monitoring service. I forget what the 3rd one was.
And so have they passed testing?
Yeah, we did Cord 2.0 end-to-end build after submitting them all, and it built cleanly.
Did that get elevated to 201?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think we've had a 201 release.
No, we've not. Okay, so we need to mark that as 201. But Joanna, I'm confused beyond that. What other issues?
I saw a comment on Slack that the team would need to go to the TST to determine what defects would go on to 2.0. So is that the process that we're using, is that the team will need to go to the TST to get approval for defects that would go back onto Cord 2.0?
Yeah, I think this is the discussion that I heard too. The question is it up to the discretion of the developer to say, okay, here's a bug fix, I'm just going to put this in 2.0, or is there some more formal process that we need to go to the TST and they need to say yes, no, yes?
Yes, and then M-Cord changes, I think, are being merged to both master and 2.0. So if we're saying no new features on 2.0, then I'm not sure what's going on there.
I don't know what the M-Cord features are. Can someone speak to that? Let's postpone that one for just a second. Let's come back to it's a bug fix. I don't know that we need a formal TST vote. I would like to proceed in the same way that we just generally do, which is by consensus, hey, I think this is a bug that ought to be fixed. Here's the patch for it. Are there any others we'd like to batch with it? And B, is there a second or third reasonable voice out there that would say that I'm not doing something stupid? I mean, if it becomes a problem, we can.
So Jarrett, I guess, is just our process for doing this. That you cherry pick a bug fix from master to Cord 2.0, and then you put the appropriate reviewers on that cherry pick.
Making note that this is
sign
good.
off on it, then it's good.
And until that becomes a problem, it could at some point. I think that's probably fine. And you know, there's judgment, but the judgment that this is a bug fix. It's not a new feature.
One thing that may facilitate the process is that in the ONOS Gambit there is this concept of module owners, but probably Jono and Charles are more confident than me. And basically, there are people that can allow merges on certain area of the project, and that may come helpful in Cord.
Yeah, that makes sense. So on the more involved question of Cord, it sounded like features.
What features are
I don't know what these are.
Well,
So
we have, this is specific to XOS and Cord, like ONOS, I guess, right? In terms of the changes for slicing manager, for example, is making some changes. As we go to our software-defined RAM, we need to make better abstraction. And so
sure,
on.
but those should make it into the next release of Cord, not 2.0. And that might mean that you're working on your own branch of 2.0 for a while, because you don't want to be on master, because that's changing in other ways. And so you've got your own branch that you're, and then really what, in one respect, what you're doing is you are working out what you believe to be features to be added to Cord, and then it kind of takes the ONOS and the whole community to say, yes, this fits into the bigger picture, but you're on a branch for right now. Yuan, is that responding to your issue?
Yes, I think it's trying to understand if Cord is using 2.0, and like you said, should we be branching off if they are? Are they trying to use 2.0 as a branch because of stability issues, because of all the XOS refactoring? If so, then should that work be done on specific branches rather than the support branch?
Well, so it's in some sense on the Cord team to start with 2.0, make whatever changes you need to make for Cord. And as there are bug fixes applied back to 2.0, you will need to bring them along. If they're important to you, maybe they're not. You need to bring them along to your branch.
Well, I think one of the arguments has been new features should be on master, right? So theoretically, should Cord branch off a stable version of master, continue with it, and eventually merge back to master once the refactoring effort is done and they've updated the services appropriately?
They will be merging back to master at some point, but not back to 2.0 because they're features, to the extent they're features.
And from my point, having this branch starting from master would be really good since the new UI.
Since they want the new UI, yes.
For demos is not in Cord 2.0, and backporting it is a bit tricky.
Right, so yeah, it is still the case that master isn't dramatically removed from 2.0. So branching off now is fine. And at some point, you're just going to have to merge back into wherever master ends up. Anything else? Good. All right, thanks everybody.